times that email never surfaces. And it's
absolutely,
but you got it out, right? Because that fire is there, that energy. Not everybody's like that. But some of us are, and we need to get it out.
Yeah, a majority of us are that way, and hitting that pause button by even writing it out, but don't address it. God, don't address it, because we've had situations where people have sent it by accident and they're like, "Oh my God!" So hopefully, if you have a system that retracts, you're good. But if you don't, and they open it, well, that's a different conversation now, isn't it? But getting that out is really important, and I love the fact that you sleep on it and then come back to it. So taking that pause is important. We don't have to have, it's funny, we're trained in school, immediate answer. Why are you hesitating? You don't know because you're not answering. So we get trained like that in school, but the opposite is really what you should do. And I think I've had this conversation with you before. I used to have a boss who I would go into back in the day. I would go into his office and I would bring something to him and he would just go silent. Holy moly, he taught me how to embrace quiet, that's for sure. But one day I said, "Why do you do that? It's so annoying." And he goes, "I'm giving it mindful consideration before I answer. I'm actually processing what you just told me." And that annoyed the crap out of me, because I was like, all right, well, that was a nice answer. But in the end, because he gave it mindful consideration, it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction of no. It wasn't a knee-jerk reaction of yes. It was a mindful, thoughtful reaction to either provide guidance or to say yes or no, depending on what the circumstance was. So being mindful, hitting that pause button, there's nothing wrong with saying, let me give that some mindful consideration.
That's really critical. You'll make better decisions, and the receptivity to other ideas will go up. I mean, yeah, I just had something this morning in that vein where I read something that somebody had written, and my response was I wanted to hear the counterpoint to what we were talking about, because my comment was the best answer is going to come out of hearing everything and being able to because I think everything goes together. It's just you got to pick the pieces out of all the good stuff that you hear, and then you can figure that solution out.
Totally agree. And that collaborative environment is always better. The collaborative mind is more powerful than the singular mind. And so allowing that collaborative to go back and forth, because we don't have all the answers and we surround ourselves with really, really smart people. So they might take our ideas, and invariably with my team, I'll throw an idea on the table and thinking, all right, this is a good idea. And they'll make it so much better, Vince. And I'm just so fortunate that one, we allow it to happen, and two, that they're willing to play, they're willing to roll up their sleeves, jump in and make it better. And I'm sure with the team that you work with, and I know how you manage, so the team you work with, that collaboration is huge.
I was just thinking that I had a team that I had rebuilt back in 05, 06, and it was an incredible group of young people. And I say incredible because they were all different. And I mean that no two were exactly alike. And when we were together, I used to let them run wild. Whatever we were working on, let me hear it. I didn't care. And the one rule I had was do not put down, condone, or shut down anybody's idea. I don't care if you think it's foolish. Get it out, because your foolish idea could be the brilliance that sparks me to think of something I wouldn't have thought of had I not heard those words. And that was my only rule. Just let everybody talk, let everybody get. And they were, not me, they were incredible. We came out with winning ideas, and they were just an incredible group. They won multitude of awards, but I always enjoyed watching because they were so surprised. And I'm like, but it was your idea.
Yeah.
Just that it came out of the group, because, Lorianne may have thought of it, but she wouldn't have thought of it if Vince hadn't said that thing he said, that she turned around and went, wait a second. What if we took that but did this?
Yeah. Changed the lens a little bit. Just a couple of minor moves made it even better, and made something that might have been seemingly inappropriate or silly or whatever, pull any adjective you'd like here. It made it into a better offering or a better project or whatever.
And I don't mean to interrupt, but that came out of a belief that I had, and that belief came out of the experiences that I had previously. And I know you talk a lot about beliefs, and my belief is that the group had a better answer, but I had to let the group run. And as the leader, my job was to facilitate, not dry, right? Let them run. But you talk about how those beliefs are formed. And I think that's something you really should share with everybody about
Yeah.
how important those things are.
So what's the definition of a belief? It's a thought you think over and over again, right?
Yep.
So if it's a thought we think over and over again, that's based on experience, because that's the only way we could have the thought, right? It has to be based in experience. Is it possible that if we have a different experience, we can change those beliefs? Because all we have to do to change the beliefs is change our thoughts. So that's the thing that, I love speaking to people who have contrary ideas or contrary thoughts to mine, because I learn, and that allows me the opportunity to change my thought, learn, change my thought, and change my belief. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
But don't you find it's probably one of the bigger challenges that you have is people want to hold on to negative beliefs.
Yeah.
And while you're trying to shake them loose from it, they hold on tight. And that's what actually holds them back. They're holding onto the thing that's holding them back, and you're trying. So how do you bridge that so that you can evolve those beliefs?
Yes. Yeah. They hold on to it. Why do they hold on to it, Vince? They hold on to it because it's comfortable. Even if it's negative, it's comfortable. They know it. They feel comfortable there. They've been marinating in that belief probably their whole entire life. It's probably something that they learned when they were a small child, or they learned when they were in high school or college, whatever the case may be. And they've marinated. It's comfortable. Even if it's icky, it's still comfortable. The thought of stepping outside of that comfort zone, and you've heard me say this before, is I'm more comfortable being uncomfortable than comfortable, because I know when I'm uncomfortable, that means I'm learning and I'm growing. And that makes me happy.
Right.
So now that's my happy place. So comfortable makes me feel like, oh my God, I'm not moving. I'm not learning. I need to do something else. Right. So the people who are stuck in those habits, those negative thoughts, and they've been surrounded by it, to shift into that, they have to step out of their comfort zone. And that's where coaches come in. Coaches can help you get in safely into an uncomfortable zone and sit there and be more comfortable. I do this exercise with my clients where you take your hands and you clasp it. You clasp your hands the way you normally clasp it in front of you, right? And then I'm going to ask you, once you feel comfortable with that, because this is how I always clasp it. I always clasp it where my left thumb is always over my right thumb. I always clasp it the same way. Then I'm going to ask the people to take their hands and shift it. And now the clasp is different. Now my right thumb is over the whole night. I'm uncomfortable right now. I'm so uncomfortable. It doesn't feel right. I just want to take my fingers and unlace them, right? But if I sit with it for a little bit, it becomes more comfortable. If I sit with it for a little bit, it's just a different way, right? So it's not right or wrong. It's just different. So that uncomfortability becomes more natural. And now I can sit with my hands laced this way. I will still go back to this way because this is what I've done my whole life. But at least I know that I can take that difference and implement it, and nothing changed. I didn't die. I didn't lose an eye. My fingers didn't fall off. Everything was fine. It was just not as comfortable. And that's the important thing about growth, is that we need to get out of that comfy couch. We have to get.
As a coach, you must see it where people are doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Rinse and repeat.
I grab onto that, and I'm not letting go. And if I try this feels uncomfortable, but this might be successful, but I can't do that because it is uncomfortable. I'm going to keep doing the thing I hold on to that's not getting me success. So getting to success is almost about breaking a habit and creating a new belief that there's another way.
Yes.
Might be better.
Yes. And here's the thing is, if it hasn't worked and you haven't reached that version of whatever success means to you, because that has a different definition to everybody, as it should. If you're not getting the traction you want doing what you're doing, then what's the first thought that you have is you got to change what you're doing. Otherwise, that's the definition of insanity, right? So we need to change what we're doing, and there will be discomfort in that. But when you surround yourself with professionals who know how to migrate and how to get you there safely, trying that. I used to say this when I used to work in the public sector, and I used to say, they would say to me, drove me nuts, but we've always done it that way. And I was like, well, humor me. Let's try it this way. And what's the worst thing that happens? We can go back to the old method, but let's give it a try. What's the worst thing that can happen if we give it a try? So try to step out of your comfort zone. Try to change the thoughts that you're thinking, because your beliefs can change. Just because you believe one thing doesn't mean you can't experiment and try to let other things in. And if you're still in that same belief and you're still comfy there, that's okay. But if you want to really expand yourself, try to get uncomfortable.
That's right.
And even habits, creating habits, to create a habit, you're going to slide back into that old habit, which was comfortable, of not doing the running, of not getting up every day, of not doing your gratitude journal in the morning. And then you just put it back on the table and you try it again the next day. There's always tomorrow.
Well,
right?
And that's it. If you miss, go back. If it wasn't, I really have this mentality. I can't train today like for the normal amount of time that I do. I can only do 20 minutes, but I say that to myself all the time. 20 minutes is better than no minutes.
Yes.
That's, and it keeps my progress forward. It keeps me in that same mindset. It's when you stop. Stopping is right. We have to move forward. That's just who we are.
Keep in motion, keep consistent. Last thoughts, Vince?
Finish off with a Twinkie.
Welcome to Healthy Lifestyle, ladies and gentlemen. As always, it has been a pleasure spending this time with you, Vince. Very sage. I love these conversations. And I really love the fact that, daily habits, try to start something new. Start with one. Don't overwhelm yourself with the gazillion that we both do. Start with one, get consistent with it, and then slowly but surely you can add others if you so choose to do that. In the meantime, thank you for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Lorianne Casdia.
And I'm Vince Perrotta.
We hope we have earned the privilege of your time. Thank you again for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Until next time, play a higher role, serve a higher purpose, show up for you, and show up what, Vince?
Big.
Yes, awesome. Show up big. Thanks so much, Vince. Have a great day, everyone.